them, thank you for getting me the hell out of there.
Well, and again, the whole issue of Vietnam and formerly when the French controlled it, and formerly when the British controlled it. I mean, it's always been about drugs. Did you ever meet Kun Sa?
No, I did not.
Okay, because
I was just a little player back in Vietnam. I was just a 19-year-old kid. So
okay, the idea now is that we are facing the complete destruction of our country. The couch potatoes would rather sit on their keyboards than attack anybody who's trying to tell the truth. Did it surprise you when the U.S. military said they're going to, and they passed a law that propaganda is now a legal form of cybersecurity? Did that make you want to basically just put your head in a bucket of cold water with ice cubes and go, this can't be even anywhere near freedom of speech? And obviously, the freedom of speech doesn't exist any longer. And with the United States totally making war on Christendom, and listen, people don't even care about history, but I get tired as a Christian hearing that all the atrocities, by the way, the president said that recently, of Christians. I mean, they don't realize that radical, quote, Islam, historic Islam, and it's all the same thing, killed 80 million Hindus. So, the thing that's appalling to me is the keyboard comfort queens, or the keyboard warriors. I can tell you this every day, and it's no exaggeration. I get a call from someone saying, enough of your talk, go out and start it. Well, I thought, gee, that one probably came from Northcom, or here's one coming in from Langley. Oh no, here's one coming in from NSA. They're promoted now on the basis of how many false identities they create. Doesn't that just sound insane to you? You can understand it, but the American people don't understand it.
They're promoted by their feathers in the belt, as many people as they can take down. That's correct, and that's how they're paid. And the people don't understand that. It's frustrating to me to see these security analysts on TV and in the major news and on the internet. All these historians that have never left their desk, but they're experts on national security. Oh, give me a break, you people. You have no clue. You have absolutely no clue what these people that I've worked for these years are capable of. You have absolutely no clue. They are the most evil things on earth. I wouldn't even call them evil people because they have no hearts. They have no soul.
Right.
They can't any longer. Even GHW, he was so paranoid that he had to go on medications when he was president. So,
well, I talked to actually a general once told me, and if I had his permission, I'd use his name. He talked about being tortured, and not mentally tortured, really tortured, in the White House. And GHW tossing his cookies and the vice president laughing and snickering. That's when he basically decided this is not what I want to do,
General Stubblebine has put some good stuff out about information, especially when it came to, he was head of the several big projects back in the day. So I don't know if you've ever interviewed him, but he would be a good person to interview.
Yeah, no, I've talked to him, and by the way, you saw one of the guys that they released out of Guantanamo now is basically a big-time ISIS guy. Actually, no, he's a neat guy, too. Know the former general that ran Guantanamo, and he just finally, got sick of it and retired. And by the way, he doesn't live in this country anymore either. But I guess the thing that's astonishing still to everyone is that we are seeing, if you will, we're seeing the destruction of everything in this country that was great. We're seeing the destruction of every value that this country was formulated on. we are absolutely, rallying around as a nation all these rights for everybody else. But isn't it amazing? Everybody that screams about rights for minorities wants to take the majority and just take them out and take them down. See, we're talking about murder, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about the most evil. By the way, the only word I can come up with those people that have no souls is entities, okay? I believe if you know that obviously these people have long left humanity and welcomed every form of evil spirit, and I can back that up even with Secret Service talking about some of the events, the occult events that have gone on in the White House. And I no longer call it, Gene, by the way, the White House. It's a slaughterhouse. But unfortunately, the American people don't get that yet. So, give a pep talk to the American people. You're saying, look, I've done all this. That's obvious. You're giving a bunch of information, but it doesn't appear that they'll ever wake up in time. And meanwhile, everything is going to become the spoils of war, and to the victor go the spoils, and America is going to be plundered. Yet people somehow think that they'll be with their bug-out bag and their big screen TV with a solar panel being able to watch everything happen. The difference, I have a statement, spectators die. Do you want to comment on that?
Yeah. When things go south, it's going to go into a domino effect, folks. It's going to move very fast. If you aren't prepared for that, you're probably going to end up starving. That's that basic. I mean, food will not be available. Trucking will not be available. Trains will not be running. Electricity, in many cases, if war breaks out here and if things are taken down, one way that they can control who, where, when, and why is by taking down electrical grids. Your electricity will not be on. It's going to get bad, and it's going to get bad fast. And for those who are prepared, I mean, even the scriptures say, be prepared. Be prepared. Be prepared to live or be prepared to die. That's the best prep talk I can give you. And it's all on you. Look, you're all grown folks. I've been out here for years trying to tell you what's going on. Believe it, okay. Don't believe it, okay. That's your problem. But be prepared to live or be prepared to die, because that's exactly what it's going to come down to.
It's
in the first. Oh, go ahead, Doug.
You know what? If we can just walk back just a couple of steps here, Mr. Tatum. I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but we're getting a lot of emails asking just for clarification. And Steve, you can chime in on this as well. With 185,000 plus background checks just on a single day, Black Friday of this year, 2 million guns being sold in November, record numbers mechanically. And again, these are numerous questions from all over the country. People are saying, well, how, in Chip Tatum's estimation, would a gun grab go? In other words, would there be foreign nationals coming in here to assist the police be federalized? Can you just address that briefly, if you
It would go very easily, grid by grid. They grid out the target area, and they go door to door, grid by grid. I mean, it's not difficult. They've been practicing it. If you guys have watched some of the videos on YouTube before the operations that took place over the summer, they were practicing going area by area, picking people out and taking them out, taking them to a fusion center or a central location, and then letting them go. That it's a grid by grid search. It's no different than what we do in the military as we go into a town and disarm a town. And the military is very adept at this. They're very practiced at it. And the National Guard are the people who were sent overseas when they should have been here guarding us, and sent through and doing these house by house grabs of weapons and caches in the Middle East. So they're very adept at it.
Are there, in this grid searches, are there high target or high value targets that will be hit first? or are they just?
You'll have teams going after high target, but that won't be part of the grid search.
Okay.
They'll just the high value targets are special force teams.
And that's a termination, basically termination, as Steve Quayle often mentions.
Yeah. They don't want to have. They don't want the problem of having to house them or anything like that. It's easier just to take them down.
Over the years, Gene, I see I can't say that. I see really stupid blog postings. Well, I just tell them I was out fishing. I dropped my Winchester Model 94 in the, off the boat, or I don't know, they all burned down in a house. Well, I tell people, guess what? Pop. You're toast. And would you address, too, the way that Spec Ops works at night? Because one of the things I've been trying to tell people is I think they watch too many Westerns. These guys don't come in the daytime, with drum and bugle corps announcing like the Revolutionary War. I mean, they hit hard. Obviously, the pilot, acoustic noise cancellation, the silent stuff they've got out there. But, the grid, Doug, that's what we tried to talk about a decade ago to get people to understand. They don't have to worry about taking the guns away from the Harvard, whatever you say, professors or any of the leftist strongholds. They know, for instance, that every single block, they know the guns, they know the targets, and they'll move a team in. The team will go from house to house. They use flashbangs, or as you'll enjoy this, Gene. One time, I was given access to a communication, and basically they just said, guys like you deserve a hellfire up a certain part of your anatomy. So the thing is that I don't think people understand that, a jet can fire from, depending on the ordnance. I mean, they can fire and fly away, and a house goes up, gets blown up. They blame it on
25 miles. 25 miles away, Steve. You never even know it was there.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, I thank God, I thank God that
GPS targeting within 1 meter. GPS targeting within 1 meter of the target.
Yep. And again, by the way, I had a pilot out here a couple weeks ago, Air Force guy, and here's what he said. You remember the reports, Gene, coming in with all the C-130s landing all over the country, really flying low, doing drops, cargo door down. He was an instructor in this, okay, and he said the entire mission plan was to supply, here's his words, foreign forces fighting the holdouts in the mountains. I mean, that's the total plan. Are you familiar with the term yard farming?
No, I'm not. But I know we have been training foreign forces here for years. I mean, we had Saudi pilots here. We had Saudi controllers. We have special forces. As a matter of fact, I was with a friend of mine here yesterday that is from Colombia, a sergeant in the Colombian Army intelligence, who went to MacDill and trained at MacDill. And while he was there, he had several other countries there in the training facility where they were being trained on intelligence and forces movements and so forth. So, we're training people from around the world in this entity, and they're very adept at what they do. These people are not going to come at high noon to get you. They're going to wait till you're sleeping at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, and then you're not even going to get a bang, a knock on the door, or a buzz. All of a sudden, you hear yelling. You have red or green lasers all over the place on your head, and most of the time they're just going to shoot. They're not going to pick you up. They're not going to carry you out. They're going to take you down, because if you're known to have a weapon, then the defensive posture, offense goes into an offensive posture, and they're just going to come in and they're going to shoot.
Doug, do you want to ask any questions? I mean, here's a gentleman that, by the grace of God, is on your show tonight, telling people how it's going to be done, and that question that you get answered, well, look at all the guns. I'd say to people, if you got to bury your guns, you're toast. If you don't know how to use your weapon, you're toast. And if you don't know modern warfare, you're toast. And Gene, years ago, when I interviewed you, came up with a statement: you want to be where everyone else isn't. And everyone usually at night sleeps in their nice warm bed, and they're going to come between 2 and 4, 2 and 5. And most people are groggy, unless they're AAA and wired. The point being is that a fair statement? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. We're here.
Oh, sorry, my mic.
There we go.
Yes, that's right on. You're right on target with that. The best place to be is where you're not supposed to be. And,
can you say that again? I'm sorry, you cut out.
the best place to be is where you're not supposed to be for that early AM wake-up call that you're going to get.
One of the other questions we have here, Steve and Chip, is obviously we're talking about a very sobering situation. Blood in the streets, a lot of blood in a lot of streets in America. Will there be? And I know you can't answer this, but I mean, our emails are just overflowing here. Is there going to be any grace period given to people turning your guns, or is this just going to be, it's going to go from 0 to 60 like right now?
Well, that sounds like. Go ahead and answer that question, Chip. But that sounds like they probably ought to turn them in now. Because if that's the question, I think that.
Yeah, I'm paraphrasing this.
What they usually offer is what's called an amnesty period. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
They're going to offer an amnesty.
What these emailers, I believe, are looking for is kind of what you opened with in the beginning. You mentioned indicators. All right. So, what these emailers they're not, judging by their tone. Believe me, they're going to be dying at the end of their driveway, fighting. But it just seems like, okay, what do we watch for? Is there anything to look for? And I guess an amnesty period, hey, turn in your weapons, and then that's it, right?
Chip, are you there?
When they put new gun laws in place, when they put an amnesty period in place for you to turn in your guns without any legal aspects against you, those are great indicators. But we've already gone through huge indicators. I mean, it's not like you need many more indicators to understand that it's going to hit the fan. It's going to hit the fan soon.
Amen. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I think the thing is I one of the things that has been really hit home, or come home to roost or whatever, is, again, they're not coming to take the guns away. Somebody, I think, asked about HVTs, high value targets, and listen, they know exactly who is a high value target. Anybody that tells the truth, they know not all, but they know the weapons most people have, and this is the thing. 90% of the people that I've talked to, and I've been in the firearms business a long time, since I was 22, okay, off and on. But the point being is that modern warfare has changed. They come at night. It's just like talking to people about, and I'm not trying to pitch anything, but when you've got night vision and thermal and every form of surveillance, it's tough for the average deer hunter to avoid detection. Is that a fair statement, Gene?
It's impossible, not tough.
Well, I'm trying to be kinder and gentler.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes,
I'm just kidding.
Steve, it's tough for the deer hunter to be unseen. Uh-huh.
Well, so what advice? Okay, what practical advice? Okay, if someone is going to basically, Doug, you said stand at the end of their driveway and go down. The point is, the idea is to avoid the conflict as long as possible. But at some point, if this, as I was told, and can you validate that basically to the victors come the spoils. In other words, the foreign invasion. There's so many nations that have been brought in. By the way, all the NATO troops have been here training under different bases and under different scenarios. but they're promised the good. See, this is the thing that makes me kind of go goofy, Gene, in talking about this stuff. People think that somehow they get to keep all their stuff when there's already laws on the books passed by the entity and his entities that basically says they can move you out and move everybody into your home. That's one of the things the British did that caused the American Revolution. And I think people are still looking. Go ahead.
Well, they do that now under the federal law.
Yep.
The confiscation laws, they can take anything you have. You don't own your house. You lease that land from the government. So, you know, you pay your taxes, don't pay your homeowner's fees, they take it from you. But listen, strength in numbers. Anyone who thinks that they can have a 50 caliber and goes say, oh, if they come to my house, I've got a 50 cal surprise for them. Well, they've got more of a surprise for you, dude. I guarantee that. There's strength in numbers. You have to come together. I'm not talking revolution. I'm just talking about people have to come together and realize that there's something very wrong, and they may have to stand up for their rights, and they may have to go to the streets to do it. But they're certainly not going to do it sitting on a couch waiting on the knock on the door or the flashbangs coming to the window.
Do you mean watching American Idol and Dancing with the Stars won't prepare something for the hardship of war?
Right.
Fantastic.
You know,
yeah.
and listen, not everyone is firearms adept, you know, but you're going to need people who have other talents. People, cooks, medical care,
yep.
Doctors, medical care, cooks, food stores. All kinds of things are needed when you talk about an uprising, and you can see how it's gone overseas in the Middle East. All the uprisings that have gone on there, and without support, these people who are military adept are destined to fail.
The desire to control the hearts and minds of the liberals versus the destruction of the middle class. By the way, the majority of middle class used to be fairly conservative. Now, for the first time in history, the middle class has fallen big time. It's very, very, what would you say? It's now common thought or common knowledge that the middle class isn't there anymore. By the way, if there's a 25-point basis rise in the interest rate, that takes $800 billion out of the economy. And people don't understand it. The only ones that will be able still to get money is Wall Street, not Main Street. Has it surprised you being out and coming back, just the devastation on America's, quote, what I would call the average man financial infrastructure? I mean, you know, our standard of living has been pillaged, plundered, and destroyed, and yet people still want to work for the company store, you know? It's got to. As you come back into the country, when you were here and now you're out, what's some of the most heartbreaking things that you notice? Because even a stroboscope, meaning intermittent light, or seeing, that's the only way you can see something that's speeding up in motion. That's how you time an engine. What are you seeing that, as much as you know, as much as you've done, that even blows your mind? If anything, maybe nothing does.
Nothing really blows my mind. You know, I understand what was going to be going on. But what is a little heartfelt for me is seeing whole families in food lines, families having to live in cars, seeing in one city block area in the subdivision that I have in the United States, in Florida, 3 out of every 10 homes abandoned. You know, that's pretty damning.
It's really sobering, you know. And again, in Bozeman, Montana, it's kind of winter. You know, it's 50 one day and 15 the next, but every couple of days. But I'm surprised, you know. It breaks my heart, the veterans that are totally abandoned. And you know, I've been told this story. I don't know if you've heard this, but I get wives who are Christians and their husbands are Christians that are suffering in so much pain because they're shot up, blown up, blowing apart. They've just got genuine medical issues, and the husbands are asking the wives to kill them, to take them out of their misery. Now, can you imagine a woman, your wife, you being in so much pain? Not that you would do it. I'm speaking rhetorically, but I'll tell you what, that's heartbreaking. That is absolutely heartbreaking, and it's also anger increasing. The veterans, 350,000, Gene, in the last year since, who's been in the slaughterhouse, gone.
Yeah, but absolutely. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. And the Veterans Administration has basically pulled away from pain medications and helping pain management for these guys, hoping that they'll take themselves out so that they won't have to pay the pensions longer. I mean, it's right. Basic finances 101 for them. That's how they're looking at it.
Are you hearing from men who are also still in the States of having their whereabouts through phone calls, voice recognition, hang-ups, dial-in hang-ups? Are you hearing that more of that is increasing, or the people that you pretty much relate to are all out of country now?
Yeah, most of my people are out of country or are active duty military and higher ranks, getting ready to retire. So yeah, and they're always listened to. So
at this juncture in time, what is it today? The December 11th. And let's say March. Let's say it's the Ides of March. I'm just pulling that out. I'm not saying anything, but for date wise. But let's say it is the Ides of March, and it really, really goes back. Do you see the newest law that if you owe the IRS any money, you're not allowed to leave the country? Did you see that just passed?
No.
Yeah, no, seriously.
I understand any debt. Even if what they do is they'll take your passport.
Yep.
That's how they do it. You get in line, they take your passport. You're a number, you're a statistic. Look, anyone who's short on child support can't get a passport. Now, I'm a proponent that if you're not paying child support, that's not a good thing. But the control is there. I mean, folks, it's hard to leave the country, to leave the comfort of what your life is like and what you have. It wasn't hard for me because my whole life was spent, most of it overseas on missions. But if you're looking at leaving the country, it's so difficult to give up those basic comforts that you worked your life for and the values that you feel that America gives. But I'm going to tell you now, the comfort is also available outside the United States. If you're looking at doing something, you need to try to learn a new language. There are more Spanish-speaking people in the world than there are English-speaking people. And Spanish is an easy language to learn. The cost of living is a third down here as opposed to the United States. So there are ways to do it, but as a family with young kids, it's going to be very difficult. So I wouldn't be a proponent of telling you to prepare to leave the United States. I would tell you prepare to be whole. Prepare to be self-sufficient in as many ways as you can, and you may have to leave the comfort of that home and go live up in the hills somewhere or something. You may have to do that.
Steve, we're at the top of the hour break. Folks, you're listening to the Hagmann and Hagmann Report with Steve Quayle and Chip Tatum. We'll be right back after these short messages. Stay with us.
Reporting on what the mainstream media won't, you're listening to the Hagmann and Hagmann Report on the Global Star Radio Network.
Then the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, for there is born to you this day in the city of David a Savior, who is Christ the Lord." From all of us here at the Hagmann and Hagmann Report, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a safe and Happy New Year. Then the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy. For there is born to you this day in the city of David a Savior, who is Christ the Lord. And behold, the virgins